Good evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Caldwell County Department of Social Services Board Meeting. Today is Tuesday, May 28th, and it's just a little after 5 p.m. here out in East Orange building. We'll get started with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation by Senior Pastor Dave Melton from the First United Methodist Church here in Lenoir. Everyone face the flag, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor Melton, thank you for joining us this evening.
It's an honor. I've prayed for a number of groups, never for a board meeting at the Department of Social Services, so it's an honor. And as I was doing this, I looked for our mission statement, and what a beautiful one it is to help families and individuals optimize their self-reliance and self-sufficiency and to protect vulnerable people, particularly children, older adults, and the disabled from abuse, neglect, and exploitation. In our church, I often pause as we make decisions and just remind our leaders that every decision we make brings people a little closer to God or pushes people a little farther away. And the significance of the decisions you make are really, really important. So thank you for serving, and it's an honor to be here. Let us pray. Father in heaven, true God of power and might, who is also filled with mercy and grace, we come to you as a community to praise and thank you for this, our home in these foothills of the beautiful Blue Ridge, and also, Lord, for this gloriously beautiful day. We thank you for the Department of Social Services and for its duty to serve and protect those in need in our county. Continue, O Lord, to use this board to direct and evaluate services provided to those who are vulnerable in our community. We pray that you might continue to guide, protect, and strengthen this body, sharing your wisdom with its members, that they may truly be able to properly appropriate the distribution of social services. Bless them also, O God, as you've blessed many through their work. We pray, Lord, that our legislation be just, empowering the best care possible for those in desperate situations. And Lord, may we all, as good neighbors, do our part to come alongside and give assistance whenever and wherever possible. This I ask in the name of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, who lives and reigns with you and the Holy Spirit, one God, forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. Great job. All right. Is there any amendments to the agenda?
We do have an amendment to our agenda tonight. Under reports, we need to add a D for our foster care month. We're going to have a presentation, short presentation by Valerie Ackerman, our licensing social worker, and Jennifer Snipes, one of our permanency supervisors, in honor of Foster Care Month, and just highlighting our appreciation for our foster parents and doing a little plug for our foster parent adoptive recruitment.
And that was Foster Care Month by Valerie and who? Again?
Jennifer Snipes.
Jennifer, okay. All right. Is that the only change?
That is the only change, yes.
Okay, perfect. So now we need a motion to approve the amended agenda.
I make a motion to approve it.
A second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed. Motion carries. All right. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Well, we just did that. So, nope, we got to approve. Is that right, Lori?
Approve the agenda. That was the agenda.
Okay, well, now we need approval of the minutes from the last meeting, correct? Okay.
I make the motion that we approve the minutes.
A second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion carries. All right, now we get into the meat of this agenda. Next on the agenda is going to be the hybrid remote pilot work results. Ms. Brandy Hood, Economic Services Administrator, and Elizabeth Franklin, Economic Services Program Manager.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We're finally here to give you guys some numbers.
talking about it.
We've talked about this and
Yeah.
talked about this. So we've got a little presentation for you guys. Just hit space or.
Yeah, you can set space bar, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Well,
It has to be turned on
oh, okay,
first.
there you go, yeah.
So we wanted just to give you a brief rundown of when we first started with the pilot, how it was announced to staff, how it was offered, things like that. So here on the screen, you'll see that we offered it to our Medicaid and food and nutrition staff. The reason we offered it to those two areas of the agency is those are our largest areas that have the most staff in those areas. We offered it to them. At the time, when we asked for this hybrid remote pilot, we asked for 12 full-time staff to do this hybrid remote. And we gave everyone in Medicaid and food and nutrition the opportunity to volunteer to be in this pilot. We had 7 staff that expressed wanting to participate in this. And we looked at staff based off of their willingness, so their desire of wanting to work from home, their quality of work, and their current productivity. Once we done this, we developed a contract, and in that contract, we created all of our expectations. Some of those were returning into office at any time due to lack of production, meetings, or shortage of coverage. If we need someone, we've got someone else out, we would call them and they would come in. They all agreed to that. 6 out of the 7 staff members worked from home 3 weeks out of the month and 1 week in office, and they done that in rotation. One of the staff done a week-to-week rotation due to the specific job duties that she had. She needed to be in office a little bit more. And this is a typo. It should be 2. When we were talking, it should have been 2, but 2 staff members were removed from the pilot due to that it wasn't a fit for them, or vacancies in the team. We needed everyone kind of back in office to help with that coverage, or performance concerns.
So the pilot had some results. There were advantages and there were some disadvantages. So a few of the advantages were there was an increase in productivity due to fewer distractions. The advantage of incentives for staff, that is something that a lot of the counties surrounding us are offering. And so that's something that people want to, utilize. It created space due to increasing in staff for the Medicaid expansion. We used that as a recruiting tool for new staff. We also used it as a retention tool for existing staff, and just flexibility for just our staff in general. Some of the disadvantages were that we were having some technological issues, but those were later resolved with IT. The amount of time being out of the office, it has caused a semi-disconnect from other staff members that are in office. And then some of the face-to-face duties required for these positions increase the workload for the staff in office due to less staff in office.
So we wanted to be very transparent and say there was some disadvantages and some advantages, and we want to take that information into consideration. So on the next few slides, you'll see we looked at transactions, and I know we may have talked about this previously, but we can monitor transactions with our economic services based off of day sheets that they report what they're doing, that goes reported to the state. And then also we have a state system that kind of tells us the majority of the things that's entered into the system. It can tell us the transactions based off of that. So that's where for worker 1, you'll see it was a 42.78% increase in productivity. She was working at home.
You can't see this really well, but the green is the remote schedule.
Yes.
And the blue is the standard in-office schedule, so.
I'm glad nobody else can read that either, so.
Yeah, yeah.
So worker two, this person transitioned back in office. She felt that it would be a better fit for her to be in office.
Can I add something real quick? So this is a sum of all of the day sheet transactions over the entire pilot period. So there were numbers per month, and what we did was we took each of those months. So we took, what month did we start? October through April. And so we compared October of last year to the October that they were working remotely, and that's how we got the difference. And so that's what we did. We went the year previous to the year current, and that's how we got the numbers. What I'll also add, and I don't know if you're getting ready to say this, but go ahead if you are, about the increased workload.
Yeah, so there has been an increase in workload with coming off of the pandemic rules. We've had an increase due to that as well. So I do want to highlight that, and I should have said that in the beginning. So you'll see an increase from that as well.
But this worker was transitioned back on her own,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
And this worker also showed an increase working at home, but she transitioned back due to vacancies on the team and training needs at that time. But you can see it was still productive at home. And then worker 4, there's also an increase, a 12.49% increase. I do want to highlight, I don't know if I said this, but I do want to, did I mention the different job duties? Okay. So each worker has different job duties, so that can also impact their production as well. So depending on the program that they're in and depending on their actual duties could change the production there.
You could see one person who turned out 1,100 transactions in a month, and then you see someone else who turned out 400. Well, those transactions may require a lot more work than the one who turned out 1,100 transactions.
Yes.
And that's what.
It's a little more in-depth work. So here is worker 5, also an increase. Worker 6, also an increase. Worker 7. And I want to highlight in this area, this worker was only the first 3 months of the pilot. So we could just look, and we didn't look at anything during those 3 months. We looked from when she started.
And so the increase in productivity would be in the April to April comparison, which is on the right over here.
So yes, I'm sorry. So we also completed, Kim sent out a staff survey today, and just asking some questions about the hybrid remote schedule to see how that went and we sent it to all staff in economic services. Would they like to continue this? This was the question. These are the responses that we've got. So majority did say yes, some said no, so we did want to show some of the responses with that.
So we asked them, we asked this question, and then we followed up with, explain your answer. And so we highlighted a few of their comments.
And I want to go back and say we've been in communication with the people in office and at home during this whole pilot as well. And we've got their concerns throughout emails and meetings and things like that too. We just kind of wanted to sum up everything.
So some of the positives and negatives are listed. One of the negative impacts would have been unnecessary work on the employees left in the office. You don't always have what you need at home, and the system may be slower at home. You don't have a feeling of being a part of a team. And then some of the advantages and positive remarks we got were that it's beneficial for morale and team spirit, that it's a great way to attract new employees, that it helps with burnout and the turnover. Some people felt they were more productive, and then some people felt like it was better for their mental health.
What do they mean by that? Unnecessary work on the employee left in the office?
So when you have staff at home doing certain duties, those staff that are still in office are having to maybe see clients for the ones that are at home. So the
Okay.
foot traffic is more for the
Okay.
individuals
That makes sense.
in
All right.
office.
I want to highlight the one comment that I thought is really appreciated, because they talk about that they believe this is another of the perks that should be added to the list of improvements the county has made to stay competitive. So I thought that was a really good comment for everybody to hear.
So our recommendation is to continue this hybrid remote work agreement. We would like to expand to additional areas in economic services such as child support, child care, work first, program integrity, and potentially staff development. We would like to make some adjustments to the schedule to make sure that these people that are doing the hybrid remote, the staff members, are at least in office on a weekly basis. We feel like the 3 weeks out of office has caused that disconnect, so we would like for them to at least be in office at least once a week. Measured implementation of adjusted schedule in addition of program areas. What that means is we will, when expanding to different areas, it will be based off of eligibility and willingness to want. We won't just make someone go home. It would be their willingness and their eligibility. We will look at it kind of in the same light that we did in the initial plan.
And we still want this to be something that is not implemented for new staff until they're fully trained, because we think it's critical to be in office while training. Those other program areas, child support, child care, work first, program integrity, child support and staff development are going to be your largest, but they're still not a very large department. The others are pretty small. So, and we talked about the schedule adjustments, and we haven't developed the ideal schedule as of yet, or the final schedule. What we've talked about is doing something similar to what our social work staff do, where they may have 3 at-home days and 2 in-office days, where they have mandatory in-office days. So that gives you those at least 2 days, or maybe 1 day, whatever we all kind of come up with and we think would be the best. It gives those teams at least that day or 2 days to be completely together. It gives them time to attend meetings, because a lot of the certain days we have more meetings that are either team-specific, program area-specific, or even agency-specific. And so we think it's real important at this point to at least have them in office at minimum 1 day a week to work to help with some of that disconnect.
Well, coming from somebody who works remotely, and I have done it for almost 25 years, the pros and cons don't surprise me, because we hear the exact same stuff. When there's special events going on in the office, special days or things like that, they don't have the ability to participate.
Right.
So, we end up, they sometimes they do feel excluded. So we hear that where I work as well. So it's just interesting to see the same issues that y'all are having. We see them where I work too. So.
And we highly encourage, now we require our staff to come to meetings, mandatory meetings, even if it is a hybrid remote day.
Yeah.
But we very highly encourage them to come in for agency activities, such as our upcoming picnic that we're having on the 14th. That's something that we will very highly encourage all staff to attend, whether it's your hybrid remote day or not. We would like you to be there. So.
And there is a one of the things that we struggle with after COVID, because 100% of our staff went from, had a lot of people that worked in the office in Atlanta. When COVID hit, they all went home. And then when we started transitioning back, there was a real big disconnect because I hadn't seen you in 2 years.
Yeah.
That there was a breakdown in communication and being able to feel comfortable. And then in between them all that, there was a bunch of management changes. So, me and you worked together 2 years ago. Today, now I'm working for Diane, who she's been my boss for a year, and I ain't never met her.
Right.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
so I guess my point is having them, try to keep them connected.
Yeah.
Don't let them feel disconnected.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, does anyone have any questions?
So what we want to do is to get an approval from the board, if you're in favor of moving forward. What I will do then is take this to our county manager, and then I believe he wants to take that to the commissioners. And so what I would like to have is, your recommendation on continuing this and expanding it to include all of economic services, not just Medicaid and food nutrition.
Are you going to be able to fill the positions? I mean, is there people going to want to go do this if you expand it?
We, I think so. We had
Because I think we gave you, was it, how many positions did we end up?
12. We got
And ended up-
12.
We only get
Seven.
seven?
And,
Five at the end.
here, the way I look at this is, we have the option. And if people do not want the option, then that's okay too.
Yeah.
At least we have the option for that retention, that recruitment,
Yeah.
that flexibility, that perk, however they want to look at it. I think we had 53 responses, I want to say, from the survey we sent out, and only 9 of them were a no. Now, in those yeses, some of them did say, I don't want to do it, but I think it's a great thing to have.
Got it. It's not for everybody.
Right.
It can be difficult from a time management. Are you wanting to add to the 12? Is that what you're saying? To what?
We want to make it available to anyone who is able and willing to do it. So I don't know how we would limit it to a certain number if you have more than that who are wanting to do it.
And I feel like with expanding to those other areas, we're going to have more than
Yeah,
12.
I think we'll definitely have more than 12.
How many do you
I
think?
love the idea. I think it's a great idea. And why couldn't you do, and which I think you would do, is the same thing. It's like if we see that your productivity's down or it's a real challenge for you to do this, then we're going to pull you back in.
Right.
And vice versa. If they do it for a while and they're like, this is not what I expected it would be, they can come back. But I love the comment about it being a perk. I love for us to be able to offer, so we can show that we really do care about the employees, and we want them as best we can to give them support and encouragement and, all
Right.
the perks that we're able to give. I like the idea.
Is there any added cost to the agency for setting folks up from home or the IT support that's needed?
No, we have, the only individuals who will be able to work from home in the beginning will be those with laptops. And so they go home and they're able to take their laptop with them, and they can VPN into the network. And so there's really no extra expense. Now, we did buy the MiFis in the beginning, and I'm not sure how many are using those MiFis now, or if we're simply using the VPN and on their home.
They were supposed to use them.
Okay.
There were some issues with them here and there, but they do have them, but.
They're spotty
we have
at
the-
best.
Yes, we have the
Yeah.
VPN
You know,
connection.
they're spotty at best.
And IT had said, initially, we were concerned about some security with people's own home internet system, but IT said that's, if you're VPN and you're into the system, then security is not an issue. So,
Do you have the same ability to monitor their productivity?
Yes.
Okay. In the one that you're wanting to add? Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
I mean, for the flexibility, for retention,
Just need a motion.
I'll make the motion that we approve the continued hybrid remote work arrangement with the addition of additional areas.
A second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed. Motion carries. Keep up the
Thank
great
you.
work, girls.
so what my next step will be, I'll prepare something for our county manager, who will then go before the commissioners, and I'll update you as that process moves forward.
Just be prepared for questions.
Yeah.
Might want to expand some of those charts so they're a little better to
See?
see and understand. All right, we'll move along to the next on our agenda is reports, May Older Americans Month and proclamation, Miss Beverly Rupert, Supervisor. One-armed bandit. Got your right arm beside you?
They were the one-arm band.
April, you-
Oh, yeah, she just got her boot off for
Oh, I was
her
supposed to say,
foot.
yeah, that's right, you had a boot on.
We've been a cute duo.
Y'all were helping each other,
They
weren't you,
were,
literally?
they're quite the pair. Together, they make one whole person.
Yeah.
So we are going to combine, just in talking about it, our May Older Americans Month proclamation and then the Celebration of Life recap. So that's going to be
Okay.
kind of,
On May 13th, we presented the Older Americans Month proclamation to the commissioners, and they accepted that, declaring May Older Americans Month, and the theme for this month was Powered by Connection. I do have the proclamation, if y'all want me to read that to you, or,
I've already heard it, but
okay, well.
if they want to hear it.
We
y'all
thank the
want to hear
commissioners
it.
for doing that for us. And for Older Americans Month, every year, we do the Celebration of Life. And this year, it was very successful. We had 253. We had a good turnout on our booths. Tracy was there. It was a good turnout. Everything went really well. We had our couple that comes every year and dances, which I love. Bob Henson provided the music.
He's great.
We had 3 gifts for the 3 oldest, and that ranged from 97, 100, and 102. We had a chair that was donated by Fairfield, a TV by Brockford Inn, and Clark & Clark donated a $100 gift certificate. So, and then, of course, we had other door prizes from the community, because that's the big thing. They love the door prizes.
Yes.
Hate I couldn't make it this year. That you guys do the plants, they always like to plant.
Yes.
Yes.
And we were, West Caldwell and South Caldwell
Yeah.
donated the plants, and they were a big hit, and
It was just a joy to see everybody's faces, the smiles on their faces that come out. And, you know, this is a way for us to give to the community. And I'm excited that they all enjoy it.
It's the only community-based event that I have done in the last 2 years that I left with not a single thing. Every ink pen, every piece of candy, every Post-it note, every flyer, everything was gone off of
Cleaned you out, didn't
everybody's
they?
tables.
They cleaned you out, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, they call it the adult trick or treat.
Everything was
And we,
Yeah.
I love it.
the community was really good with sponsorships. We had several of the gold sponsors. That was Via Health, Clark & Clark, Brockford Inn, Hickory
UNC.
Falls, UNC,
Yep.
and
Caldwell.
Grace Village. So we had several gold sponsors.
That's awesome.
it was a
Yes.
lot of fun, and thank y'all all for coming. I know you weren't able to make
Yep.
it, but,
It was the first time I'd
Yeah.
ever been there.
It
So I
was-
was,
First one I
yeah,
missed.
I
Yeah.
was impressed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I
a
saw
lot-
a lot of
Thought
people
about
from
you.
my church, a lot of the older
Yeah, yeah.
people from my church, yeah.
It is a lot of fun. It's just, it's an opportunity to what April said, you get a chance to see the smiles on our faces, and I think they really do appreciate it, and they really do seem to enjoy themselves, you
Yeah.
know,
it was
for
a lot
those
of fun.
few hours.
And I'll have to say, our agency, there was a lot of staff who volunteered this year, and
Yes.
they just, for setup, to breakdown, to everything in between, and it was just, it really seems like a team.
Who did
Event.
the food this year?
And it is hard
Timberwoods.
work.
That's right.
It was hard work. Next year, we're gonna.
Well, actually, I had it
Have to do
easy
it
this year, but
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
Beverly
I know,
got,
Yes.
she got out of a lot of the
know
hard work. April
You
did
can
not
still-
get out
hey,
of the hard
You can
work.
still serve mashed potatoes with one hand.
well,
That might be a little challenging with the left hand.
yeah, Timberwoods did the food again, and it was great. The chicken pie, rolls, and we did have leftover food that we, Laura took to the Yokefella and shelter home.
Great.
So we were able to provide for them, which is a great thing, because
they
then
were
it just
very
goes right back
thankful.
into the community.
That's right.
Yeah, they were very thankful for that.
Good stuff.
And we plan to do it next year, so be ready.
Yes.
Fantastic. Anybody got any questions? Good job, ladies. Thank you so much. We'll move into you want to move into the guardianship presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll just say,
Now-
let me just say real quick, I know that over past several years, we've done little snippets of kind of education about the program areas in DSS. And so we're kind of starting those back up again because I know some of you hadn't had an opportunity to hear some of that. So this is one that they're going to talk about, which is a part of adult services separate from adult protective services. But it'll be this is the guardianship piece of it. So I just wanted to say that. Sorry.
And we did a quick run through of it, and it only took us about 45 minutes. So, just kidding, just kidding. Guardianship. Okay, actually, April was the guardianship supervisor, direct supervisor, but we're just going to do it together. Guardianship involves the provision of services to individuals who are alleged to be incompetent. Guardianship appointment is determined by the clerk of court. The clerk hears the case, determines if the adult is incompetent, and if deemed incompetent, then she appoints a guardian. How do I,
There you go.
okay, sorry, there we go.
Okay. Basically, the definition of incompetent is an individual who lacks sufficient capacity to manage their own affairs and make important decisions concerning their person, family, or property. Individuals lack the mental capacity to understand the consequences of his or her actions.
Something we get a lot of is people have the right to make bad decisions. And so, because a lot of times they understand the consequences of those decisions. It's when they don't understand the consequences of those decisions, it can be someone who may be incompetent.
Okay, and this is how DSS gets involved. Someone can call in for guardianship assessment. A big agency that does that is like the hospital. Someone will come in, they don't have any family, the hospital doesn't feel like they have capacity, and they will call us for a guardianship assessment. Those are not state mandated. We just do that as a courtesy to the community, okay? And then our majority of guardianship cases we get come through adult protective services. When we confirm and substantiate a case, and the adult lacks capacity, then that's when we go to court. Now, when I say confirmed and substantiated, that means we get a report and we have confirmed the allegations are true, and we substantiate it, meaning some kind of intervention needs to be done to protect this adult. So at that time, we assess their capacity to see if they understand what's going on and can they actually sign for services to let us help them. If they do not fully comprehend their situation and exercise judgment regarding the particular services that are protective in nature, they do not understand that. If we feel they lack capacity, then we have to file a guardianship. Well, there's other things we can do, but we have to do a guardianship. And, but they have to understand, they have to not understand the area they need protection in, okay? You know, we get a lot of hoarders, and they can't have the capacity. If they had capacity, they wouldn't live that way. No. They'll tell you, my house is filthy, it's been this way for years, I don't want anything done about it. Yeah, I know I could fall. I know the county's on to me about it. It is what it is.
I know it could be a fire hazard, I understand.
Yes, then they have capacity, they're just making a bad choice. So,
A bad choice in our mind,
Yes.
right, exactly,
Yes.
not in their mind.
right.
Or it could be an unsafe choice.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, when DSS is appointed as guardian, guardianship should be considered only when other less drastic methods of assisting an adult are not sufficient. And when I'm saying less drastic, would a payee help their situation out in finances? Or getting a power of attorney to help manage their health care or their finances. I know that this year the state is really pushing for least restrictive. And so we are looking at the least restrictive sources more than going straight for the guardianship piece.
Like if
now.
they don't have capacity in the area of their finances, then can we get them a payee that can manage their finances without having to go to guardianship? Do they have a POA that will take the responsibility needed?
Does everybody know what a
before we file?
POA is?
Power of attorney,
Yeah,
sorry.
so guardianship is the last result.
Because you're taking somebody's rights away.
After you've done everything else, yeah.
Yes. There's also guardianships that are least restrictive, such as limited guardianship. We get an APS case and they don't have capacity in the medical part of their lives or specifically medications. We have just been deemed guardian over their medications. And just going out to make sure that they have their medications, picking up their prescriptions from Walgreens or, the pharmacy. That's a limited guardianship.
Limited guardianship of just health care. We actually recently had one like that, and that's all we did. He still was able to do all the other areas, but he just didn't understand his medications.
Right. And then we like to do placement in the community. DSS has always been, they've always said, oh, you get guardianship, you're going to put them in placement. We like to make sure that their placement is least restrictive, such as if an individual can live in the community and we can wrap supports around them, such as CST, ACT services that will follow them daily or at least weekly to make sure that they're getting their medications and getting to their doctor's appointments. That's what we would like to see for our wards.
And DSS should be considered the last resort for a guardian. That means families should be contacted, people that are involved, anybody that has any type of relationship with the person, those people need to be assessed to see if they would be appropriate guardian and would they be. And if there is no one, then it should be us. And there's even agencies.
Yes.
Like ARC of North Carolina, there's other agencies that can take them. That should be, those resources should be exhausted before we are named.
So as far as the county, we have 49 wards that we currently provide case management for. We currently make sure that they get their medical care, they get all their needs met, either facility. I do have one that's in kind of like a halfway house that is getting her mental health and substance abuse managed. And we have 8 wards that we contract through an outside source, which is Hope for the Future.
We also, guardianship is not final. I mean, somebody can have their guardianship restored. If they start taking their meds right and they start doing, making sure their health care is taken care of, they can get into a good environment, then a lot of times they can have it restored. And you could, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say an example of that might be someone, go ahead.
Well, it's just the case we just had.
Yep.
He had been our ward for probably 10 years. He was an alcoholic, and over the past 10 years, he's got it. He's got everything together, is making good decisions, went to court and restored it.
That's
We
great.
always, whenever we do an annual assessment, there's a part that the court requires us to put on there of why can't their capacity be restored? Now some people, dementia, that you can't. And there's also motion to modify. Since Kim's become director, we've started once a month, we meet and we go over our wards. And one thing we've been doing is we've been looking at, is there someone else that's in their life now that could be their guardian? And we've had 4 wards that we've been able to transfer guardianship to a family member or someone that's involved instead of DSS having to be the guardian. And as guardian, it's not just, okay, well, DSS is watching over them, they're fine. Guardianship is a big responsibility. And there's a lot on Kim for that. I mean, you have, DNRs when they're ready for hospice. We had one amputation. There's a lot of hard choices to make. And we still, even though we're guardian, we try to always include the family in those decisions. We're ultimately the one who makes that decision, but we do want their input. And so there's a lot that goes on with guardianship. We currently have 2 full-time guardianship case manager positions. And they average usually about 25 apiece. So, and it's a lot. We have the state requires us to visit them, do an in-person visit quarterly. We can do telephone calls monthly, but with our county policy, we try to see our wards every month. Because with our wards, sometimes we are the only person they have. We are their family. We're it. So, anything you want to?
I think you said it. I think you said it.
So
Any
how many
questions?
do we have to where we are just did? You know,
Oh.
ballpark? Make a good guess.
Half?
Probably half.
There's just nobody.
I kind of figured it might be a little high.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we get a person in the guardianship, we always ask for a family contact so we can extend and make sure that the family knows that, hey, they're doing well, or, you know, or give them updates. And for them, for the family members to be able to contact us and ask questions. And also when it becomes end-of-life situations, we don't take that on. Yes, we have to sign that, but we want the family to make that decision. It's not, you know, it's not our decision. It is our final decision, but, you know, the family needs that input.
Right. But I guess the reason I was asking that is I don't think people realize that there's people out there who just ain't got nobody. I mean, literally.
Oh, yes, there's quite a few in
Yeah.
our county.
And I think sometimes we take it for granted that, you know, our life's normal, right? We have family, we have kids and other things, and there's people out there who just don't, they literally ain't got nobody but us.
Yeah.
So,
We have a couple that we have guardianship of, and they don't have anybody. And luckily, a local attorney has taken them under their wing, and that's their person now.
good.
She takes them shopping, so people can come into their life once they're placed.
Yeah.
And that, we've seen that happen several times.
Yes.
All right, ladies, great job. Appreciate what y'all do. Anybody got any
Thank
questions?
Thank you.
All right, we'll move along. Next on the agenda is Foster Care Month, Valerie and Jennifer.
I feel like you're gonna have to pull her up.
Yeah, I know.
Might as well get up here. You came to the meeting.
I did.
So May is also Foster Care Appreciation Month. So we recognize our foster families, our foster kinship and adoptive families, and thank them for all the work that they do. We had 29 families this year that we recognized with gift cards and cards that everybody signed their thanks for everything they've done for the children. And we need double that amount in our county, which is part of the reason that our recruitment slogan is Be the Village, and we're trying to recruit community partners. And if you can't be a foster parent, what else could you do to help? So Kim is passing out those cards. And different ideas are contacting Fostering Hope Catawba and giving donations through them. They're really great at supporting our foster and kinship families. Partnering with Big House Ministry, which is our local organization in Lenore that also has a foster parent and adoptive parent and kinship support group called Replanted. They meet once a month. Become a guardian ad litem and directing them that way to be an advocate for the kids in court, financially support the kids, or I think most times, 9 times out of 10, we're at a recruitment activity. Someone's like, well, I can't be a foster parent right now, but I'd like to in the future. So I give them our information, or this is another way I'd like to help. So it just gives them that information that they can take with them. Or if there is a family that you think would make a great foster parent, the other card is the steps to becoming licensed, that they can scan the QR code and it takes them right to our website, and they can email me for any information or give me a call if they would like to talk in person.
And these are going out where?
We're taking these anytime we have an event that we
Okay.
go to.
Yep.
We have an event that Kim's going to talk about coming up. I think we're averaging at least 2 a month coming up in the summer through the fall. That just any kind of community activity, and if you know of any, just don't hesitate to let Kim know or Donnie or give me a call and let us know about it, and we'll see if we can send somebody out and just partner with the community and get the word out that we need families.
Have we considered some sort of social media presence with this?
No, you mean Instagram, Facebook? We're doing different things with that now. There's a movie actually coming out in July called Possum Trot, and we're partnering with a local theater in Catawba, and it's going to be like Catawba, Burke, us, and going out and inviting our families and having the family bring a family that could be like a partner family for kinship, foster, and adoptive families to come out and get more information about how they can help, and using that as a recruitment strategy that'll also be put on our social media.
Great. You know, with technology the way it is today, there's probably some sort of, I guess maybe if you had a link or something in social media, maybe this code up here that somebody could click on and these questions would be there, they could answer and submit it back to you, maybe through our website. Because I like this information, but the key to all this is getting it into the right people's hands, you know? That's the
Definitely.
key to it, and the more, as they say, the more lines you got in the water, the more fish you're gonna catch, right? So,
Have you ever had churches be open
Good
to
question.
that?
Yes, and we have there's certain months that different churches talk about foster care, and we have the foster and adoptive parents at those churches get up and talk about their experiences and try to recruit more people to help.
yeah, churches or faith community would be a great place to really work on that.
Yeah, we do that a lot, I think, and like that, I think we've gotten some good results from our faith community.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that sounds good. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody got any questions? All right, we'll move along. Monthly updates. My old friend Chris Conley, business manager. He never lets me down. He's always here with some exciting news tonight. Right, Chris?
Sure, Danny, yeah. Yeah, really exciting news for practically no one. But thank you again, Donnie, and good evening to all of you on the board. Our April financial report, reimbursements for the month totaled $592,459. We ended the month with receivables of almost $1.7 million. Expenses in the month were $1,274,224. So our county dollar expensed in the month was $681,765. In our year-to-date to prior year comparison, through April, expenses are up about $670,000, while revenues are up $158,000. So at this point in the year, our county dollar is up almost $512,000. That's short. I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have some.
What contributes to the 511 salaries? We're still chasing that
Mostly,
creature?
yeah. And I touched on that some last month, well, just where expenses overall have increased. That
Yeah.
didn't focus so much on our county dollar, but yeah, it's more because of staff cost.
Yeah.
But also, let me add to that, our adoption assistance cash payment to families is an all-county expense in our budget. So, yeah, that 511 is not just staff. The adoption assistance increase is $160,000 at this point in the year.
Okay.
And that's something we can't do anything
No
about.
control over, yeah.
We have no control over that. And that significant increase is because of rate increases the state set.
Well, they needed to make those. I mean, it needed
Yeah.
to be done. I mean, because stuff is, We all know things are a whole lot more expensive, so we get these foster families in there, we're asking them to take on that responsibility, and they need to be compensated for that, for, you know, food and clothing and things of that nature that they have to
Yeah.
expense out for, so.
So that area alone is about a third of that increase, and so, no, it's not just staff cost.
Okay.
That was the first thought that came to my mind there.
Yep. Well, appreciate that. Anybody got any questions for Chris?
Thank you.
As always, thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Chris.
Next is the Director's Report, Kim Arnett.
So I'll start with our personnel report. As you can see, we have 8 positions currently open. We filled 6 positions since the last meeting. So I think trending upward in that area. It's, my staff always say I can't say anything too good about it because then I'll jinx it. So I'll just let you look at it.
One of these days, you're gonna give us a blank piece of paper.
I'm just going to stop.
Yeah, one of these days, we're gonna look at this, there's gonna be nothing on it.
No, wouldn't that
Yeah.
be so exciting?
Yep.
That's what we're striving for. So that's what some of this retention and recruitment perks
Yep.
and methods are for. So
Yep.
I know we've had a lot of presentations tonight, so I'm not going to take up too much of your time. But I want to say there's a couple of things that are coming up for the agency as part of our outreach, our recruitment for foster parents. We are partnering with Animal Care. They're doing a Fur Festival adoption event on June 22nd. And so we are going to set up a table there, and we have some books that we've bought. It's called A Puppy Who Wanted a Boy, and it's just the sweetest book. And so we're going to give those books away, and we're going to give out, you know, we're going to talk to people about foster parenting and adopting. And so we got about 100 of those books. I don't think that'll probably hit everyone. From what I understand, these festivals are quite crowded, so we're hoping at least we can get a few hits out of this. And so,
If you get one
and
out
we're
of
going to have
100,
fun because we're get to see all the puppies.
That's right.
And so,
If
yeah.
you get 1 out of 100, you've accomplished
Right,
something.
right. Everyone counts.
That's right.
Also, we are having our agency picnic, so we do this yearly, and it's around summer or fall, just depending on when we decide to have it. And this year, we decided to have it more in the summer, so we're going to do it June 14th, and it's going to be at Tuttle State Park. And we're definitely going to encourage all of our staff to attend this. I'd love to see 100% participation for those who can make it out of the office. It's going to be more like a drop-in because there's, you know, we can't have no coverage, so it will be a drop-in. Love for you all to come. I think we start, at what time do we start, Lori? 11:30? Okay, 11:30 to 1:30. So if you all would like to come, we've done this at Tuttle State Park one other time, I think, and it's really nice. It's shaded. There's some horseshoe pits. We may have some people bring cornhole boards or some other things to just have some entertainment. But
Who provides the food?
we do,
Okay.
yeah. So we're going to be
Everybody
grilling.
brings a little something?
Well, actually, the county, we pay for it.
Oh, okay.
So the agency pays for it. We have some funds that we save up and that we provide that for the staff. And
Okay.
some of our supervisors actually pitch in some. And so we're going to be
Sounds like fun.
grilling and having a good time.
One of the things that you may want to mention, I don't know if the board's aware of the salary increases that we did
Yes.
for DSS.
Okay. Have I not mentioned that?
Have y'all heard about that? Okay. Never
Okay.
mind.
Okay. I can do it. I can talk about it again.
That was done. is my
Yeah.
point.
Yes.
It was-
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought we
So,
talked about
yeah.
that
I couldn't
pretty.
remember if we had or not.
Everyone has been very
depth, yeah.
appreciative of that. So.
Okay. That sounds good. Anybody got any questions? All right, next on the agenda is Children's Services and Adult Highlights. Laura Harrison, Child Welfare Program Administrator.
So before I start, I just want to say Tracy, Diane, and I at the Celebration of Life, we were on a team. We made it fun and a competition. I don't know that our team won.
But they lost.
I think we lost against Kim's and Brandy's team. But I do just want to highlight we had tried to have a little fun.
friendly. It was a friendly competition.
I guess. But it was a lot of fun. I just said that out because it was a lot of fun, and I think everybody that attends that enjoys that heavily. So.
Yeah.
All right, so we have the report here in front of you. We also have it up on the screen. You'll see a increase in the numbers. Again, that's a normal thing for this time of year. I anticipate when I'm here next month, the numbers will be just as high, if not higher, actually. School ends this month, and we see an increase in that at the end of the month, at the end of the school year. So I do anticipate that number to be higher next month. We had 71 assessments that were accepted for us to look into, 22 assists for other counties within the state. Also, sometimes those could include out-of-state courtesy assists. We don't get a lot of those, but we do get some. In-home services has had 17 cases with 6 assists. We have 167 children in care, 8 children in the foster care 18 to 21 program. We finalized 1 adoption, and you heard Valerie talking earlier. We have 22 regular foster homes and 8 kinship families. And I know you guys wanted an update on the resource fair. Crystal Henderson had put that together and talked about that before, and she wasn't able to be here tonight. So I'm going to give it just a quick update on that. We had approximately about 50 vendors attend that and set up. I'm not sure, I can't remember, and I know Crystal led that, but if y'all were able to stop by or not. If you were, you noticed that we were very crammed. We were packed into the library. We do hope to do that again next year, and we look at moving to a different venue that can hold a larger number of vendors. It was very successful. We had a lot of positive feedback from staff at DSS, but also other county employees that were able to attend as well. We are also looking at opening that up to the entire community next year and not just our staff. So that way, everybody that needs to know about these services will have the opportunity to have those hear about the services.
Yep.
So I wanted to throw that out there.
I got a lot of positive feedback from other employees, so it was really good.
Yeah, it was a great turnout, and the vendors had lots of stuff to give out. It just seemed to be very beneficial to everybody.
It was good.
And then the proclamation is attached to or somewhere in your packet, and my packet's at the end for Foster Care Month. I just wanted to throw that out there that Roy Cooper did. It's the proclamation made by the state, so it's in your packets. I won't read that to you unless y'all are just dying to hear me read all those words to you.
I think we're good.
And then adults, I'll just go real quick. You already heard from them. Like they said, we currently have 49 awards. They've received 39 calls through their intake, and 27 of those were accepted for them to assess. Any questions? Information?
I don't think so. I'm all good.
We have an information session on June 4th.
Did that just like come to your mind?
It did. It just,
From out of nowhere.
just, fell over into my brain here.
Little birdie just
It
whispered.
did. So we do have that's open for the members of the county, and they're in our, you may want to help me out here.
Yeah.
Community partners to come, and we
Sorry, I
talk
threw
about
you off.
the
I threw you off.
services that we have available.
Yeah, so we are opening it up, to any county employee, but also any employee of a agency in the county. So we've sent those out. I don't know, gosh, there's tons of people
Yes.
on that email chain that goes out. And so we had a good turnout last time, and we're doing this quarterly, so this is our second. It'll be June the 4th at 2:00 at the office, at the building.
And I believe we're going to start trying to record these, so that way if they're missed, an employee or somebody else that wants to watch it can
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody got any questions? All right. Thank you, Laura. Family Support Services highlights Brandy Hood, Economic Services Program Administrator.
I'll make this very quick. I just want to go over the numbers for economic services. So for the month of April, food and nutrition completed 637 applications with 11,641 cases. And $1,906,915 that was paid out for those services. For childcare, there was 23 applications submitted with 658 individuals, and the total services was $261,844. We've broke up the Medicaid numbers a little bit from last month and from the previous month, just to show And I want to explain that just a little bit. For our family and children's Medicaid area, we look at the numbers based off of individuals. And for our adult Medicaid, we look at the numbers based off of cases, because one individual for adult Medicaid can have multiple cases. And each of those cases have to have case management done to those cases. For family and children, 8 individuals can have one case, but each individual has to have case management completed. Does that make sense? So we wanted to give a more accurate visual of those numbers. So for family and children's Medicaid, there were 530 applications completed with 20,990 individuals. Adult Medicaid had 171 applications submitted with 9,127 cases. For our Work First Family Assistance, there was 43 applications submitted with 27 active cases. For our Child Support Department, there was 2,637 active cases, and total services collected was $526,177.67. For our Emergency Assistance Department, there was 219 applications submitted and 210 telephone calls about emergency assistance. And the total services paid out was $4,637.40. I want to highlight, and I did this last month as well, the difference between March and April. You see it continues to decrease. You'll see that, you'll see that decrease, and then when it becomes more fall, winter, you'll see it increase back up. So for our customer service, there were 2,204 individuals assisted at our front desk and 4,894 telephone calls routed through our agency.
That's a lot of conversations.
It is a lot. It is a lot of conversations, a lot of people to help at the front,
Yes.
at the front desk too.
Yep.
The only thing really going on in economic services right now is the single county audit. We go through this audit every year. They look at Medicaid, or they're coming to look at Medicaid and Work First Family Assistance cases. They will be here next week, and they also look at a bunch of other stuff that Chris knows a lot more about than I do, but they will be reviewing some of the Medicaid and Work First cases. So we're preparing for that.
Good.
But other than that, things are going pretty steady.
Well, as always, you guys are greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Keep up the great work.
Thanks.
Anybody got any questions? Any more comments? If not, then our next board meeting will be on Tuesday, June 25th, at 5 o'clock here at the Aldine Starnes Building. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you for joining us this evening.